This is a developing story of profound tragedy in the High Sierra, where an avalanche has struck with devastating force, claiming multiple lives in one of the deadliest backcountry incidents in recent U.S. history. Rescue teams continue their grueling work under extreme weather as communities mourn and authorities investigate what led to this catastrophic slide near Lake Tahoe. Good evening. I'm Anna William, reporting for Update Point. Tonight, we bring you in-depth coverage of three major developing stories. A deadly avalanche in California's Sierra Nevada that has shocked the nation, escalating tensions between the United States and Iran with implications for global security, and the launch of a new international initiative focused on Gaza reconstruction and stability. These events highlight risks in nature, diplomacy, and post-war recovery. We will examine each in detail. Before we start, wherever you're watching or listening from, drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe to the channel. Today we'll continue this conversation in the comments and respond to your questions. We begin with the heartbreaking events unfolding in the backcountry near Castle Peak, northwest of Lake Tahoe in Nevada County, California. On Tuesday, February 17, 2026, a large avalanche swept through a group of 15 backcountry skiers, 11 clients, and 4 professional guides from Blackbird Mountain Guides around 11:30 a.m. The slide occurred on a steep, north-facing slope at roughly 8,200 to 8,300 feet elevation in rugged terrain close to Frog Lake Huts, where the group had been staying during a multi-day expedition. The avalanche released suddenly, described by officials as a fast-moving wall of snow covering an area comparable to the length of a football field. It buried or partially buried much of the party in deep, heavy debris. The group had been navigating the area during a period of intense winter weather, with recent heavy snowfall, up to 3 feet in nearby locations like Donner Peak, combined with strong winds that loaded slopes and created unstable conditions. Avalanche forecasters from the Sierra Avalanche Center had issued clear warnings in the days leading up. As early as Sunday, bulletins highlighted a persistent weak layer of sugary, faceted snow buried beneath newer, denser deposits. Wind transport and possible rain-on-snow events from earlier storms further weakened bonds in the snowpack. The danger rating reached considerable to high levels, with specific alerts for human-triggered releases on steep terrain, precisely the kind of slopes the group was traversing. Emergency response began almost immediately after a 911 call reached authorities. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office coordinated a large-scale operation involving nearly 100 personnel from multiple agencies, sheriff's deputies, volunteer search and rescue teams, such as Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue, regional fire departments, and specialized backcountry units. Helicopters attempted insertions when weather permitted, but gale-force winds, blizzard conditions, and near-zero visibility often grounded aircraft. Rescuers advanced on skis and snowcats through treacherous terrain with no direct road access. By late Tuesday evening, around 9 or 10 p.m., teams located 6 survivors who had endured hours in the cold, some partially buried or sheltered under improvised tarps. These individuals, 4 men and 2 women, ages ranging from approximately 30 to 55, included 5 clients and 1 guide. Several sustained serious injuries preventing them from self-extricating or walking. They required immediate medical stabilization and transport via snowcat to awaiting ambulances and airlift points. 2 were hospitalized with non-life-threatening conditions, and officials indicated positive prospects for recovery. The toll, however, proved far heavier. Over the following hours and into Wednesday, February 18th, rescuers recovered the bodies of 8 victims. 1 individual remained unaccounted for as of the latest updates, with operations shifting toward recovery amid ongoing hazards. Among those lost was someone with close personal connections to the local rescue community. One victim's spouse was a member of the Tahoe Nordic team, adding an intimate layer of grief to an already overwhelming mission. This event now ranks among the most severe in American avalanche history. It surpasses the 1982 Alpine Meadows disaster near Lake Tahoe, which claimed 7 lives and stands as one of the deadliest involving backcountry skiers in decades. Historical records from the Colorado Avalanche Information Center and national databases place it fourth or higher in U.S. fatalities from a single slide in modern times, behind only rare large-scale incidents. The victims included experienced skiers and community members with ties to local programs, such as families connected to the Sugar Bowl Youth Ski Team. In Truckee, Tahoe City, and surrounding areas, support has poured in. Counseling services activated through schools and churches, community fundraisers established for families, and vigils planned to honor those lost. Experts stress that while the group carried standard safety gear, avalanche beacons, probes, shovels, and operated under professional guidance, no preparation can fully mitigate extreme natural forces when conditions converge. The incident underscores ongoing challenges in backcountry education, checking forecasts rigorously, choosing conservative routes during high-risk periods, traveling in small teams with separation protocols, and turning around when red flags appear, even in ideal-looking powder. Recovery efforts persist despite continued poor weather. Investigators are examining exact triggers, possibly a small skier-triggered slab that propagated widely, and broader seasonal patterns that have seen frequent slides in the Tahoe region over recent years. Our coverage will follow updates on the final recovery, victim identifications, and any lessons that emerge to prevent future tragedies. We turn now to international developments, where relations between the United States and Iran have intensified dramatically. President Donald Trump has signaled that military options against Iran remain actively under consideration, with preparations that could lead to targeted strikes potentially as early as this weekend or in the near term. Pentagon planning, according to administration sources, includes detailed scenarios for operations extending over weeks. This involves repositioning naval assets, such as the deployment of major aircraft carriers and supporting vessels toward the Persian Gulf, and adjustments to ground personnel across bases in the Middle East. The buildup reflects a posture of readiness amid stalled diplomatic efforts. The president has repeatedly called on Iran to negotiate a comprehensive agreement addressing nuclear concerns, regional activities, and ballistic missile programs. In public statements and posts on Truth Social, he has described the current Iranian leadership as unstable and posing imminent threats, citing recent joint naval exercises between Iran and Russia in the Sea of Oman as provocative. Tehran has responded with its own warnings, including threats to close the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global energy shipments, and to target U.S. interests if provoked. A notable geopolitical angle involves the strategic island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Part of the British-administered Chagos Archipelago, the atoll hosts a critical joint U.S.-UK military facility used for long-range bomber operations, surveillance, and logistics. Amid ongoing discussions about sovereignty, Britain has explored a potential transfer to Mauritius with a long-term lease for the base. President Trump has directly cautioned Prime Minister Keir Starmer against relinquishing control. In explicit terms, the president argued that maintaining British sovereignty over Diego Garcia, along with supporting facilities such as the airfield at Fairford in the UK, could prove essential for any future response to threats from Iran. He emphasized that such assets might be needed to counter or prevent attacks that could affect not only the United States, but also allies like the United Kingdom. The remarks underscore the administration's view that credible military capability underpins deterrence and negotiation leverage. diplomatic channels have seen recent indirect talks, with some progress reported on nuclear issues, yet deep mistrust persists. Iran's foreign ministry has hailed certain discussions as constructive while rejecting unilateral pressure. The situation carries risks of miscalculation, particularly with heightened naval presence and rhetoric on both sides. Allies monitor closely, aware that escalation could disrupt global energy markets and regional stability. The White House frames the approach as pragmatic, offering a path to agreement while demonstrating resolve through force posture. Whether this leads to breakthrough diplomacy or further confrontation remains uncertain, but the stakes, nuclear proliferation, maritime security, and alliance cohesion, could not be higher. Finally, domestic and international diplomacy intersect in today's inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, chaired by President Trump and focused primarily on Gaza. The initiative, launched earlier this year, convenes representatives from dozens of nations, largely Arab and Muslim, majority countries, to address reconstruction, security, and long-term stability in the war-torn enclave, following pledges exceeding $5 billion from participating states for humanitarian aid, infrastructure rebuilding, and related efforts. The gathering aims to formalize commitments and outline implementation. The President has previewed announcements on funding streams and personnel contributions. Thousands of individuals committed to an international stabilization force and local policing structures to help restore order and support recovery. The board operates under U.S. leadership, with Trump as chairman, and positions itself as a mechanism for multilateral action in one of the world's most protracted conflicts. While initial focus centers on Gaza, devastated by prolonged hostilities with widespread destruction of homes, hospitals, schools, and essential services, the mandate has expanded to encompass broader peacemaking and post-war reconstruction models. Not all traditional allies have joined. Some European partners have expressed reservations about funding transparency, political oversight, and alignment with existing frameworks. Israel's participation remains limited, with Prime Minister Netanyahu's involvement noted but tempered by concerns over inclusion of certain regional actors. Despite these hurdles, the White House views the board as a fresh approach, emphasizing practical outcomes over prolonged negotiations. This development reflects the administration's push for bold, U.S.-led initiatives in conflict zones. We will track outcomes and reactions as they emerge. These three stories, from a mountain tragedy exposing nature's risks, to rising geopolitical strains testing resolve, to diplomatic efforts seeking stability in a fractured region, capture a moment of intersecting challenges. Update Point will continue following each closely. Thank you for joining us. Stay informed, stay safe, and we will see you next time.